Hello, everyone, and welcome to a Christmas episode of Into the Vault, the show where we reach back into the Disney vault, pull out a movie, and find out if it was a hidden treasure or if it was locked away for our own good. I'm your host, Garrison MacCraw, and with me today is the ghost of Christmas present, because he's here right now, Joshua Wainwright.
Oh, cracking yourself up at your own joke there? You laughing at that one?
Joshua Wainwright.
Oh, hi.
You just laughed at your own, making fun of me laughing at my own joke.
So, okay, but you also called me a ghost, so are you telling everyone that I'm deceased?
I've made a habit on the show of telling people that my guest
Incorrect
is dead.
information. Oh. Everyone, if you're hearing this and you don't hear from me in a couple days, this is your warning sign.
I think I said you were a ghost during our Haunted Mansion review.
Probably.
I definitely said Nate Elliott was a ghost when I did Blackbeard's ghost.
So you're only taking ghosts now?
Yeah.
Do you have something wrong with living humans?
Yeah, I do.
Oh,
they never show up on time.
Is it because of the Matthew Morrison Grinch thing? You lost all faith in humanity. You said humans just suck, man.
Just the other day, Josh and I watched the Matthew Morrison Grinch live, and I think we've each lost a bit of our humanity.
You know, I feel like I really wish that was on ABC and not NBC.
So we could have reviewed it?
Exactly. If it was on ABC, and then imagine trying to make an attraction based on the Matthew Morrison specific Grinch. It's like, it's an escape room, but you're trying to escape from Matthew Morrison. And every time you turn around, he's just pelvic thrusting on different screens. It's like a Horror Nights house.
Well, I mean, that makes sense because at all times in my life, I'm trying to escape from Matthew Morrison.
That's fair. That's valid.
So,
I don't have enough money to pay for therapy, so I have to ignore him wherever I go.
So today, what we're going to be reviewing on this Christmas, this beautiful Christmas morn, we're going to be reviewing the Muppets Christmas Carol, which you've never seen?
I'm looking at a picture, though, and I feel like I've seen it.
You feel like you have?
Looking at this picture, I feel like I get the gist.
Okay.
You know, I'm like, oh, yeah, okay, Kermit.
So I think we all pretty much know the story of A Christmas Carol.
If they don't, do you have, like, a copy of the book you could just, like, read real quick? Like, all 200 pages, just kind of breeze through it super fast?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay, so go ahead and just, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, Garrison will read you the entirety of the Charles Dickens Christmas Carol.
So I have the book in hand. Jacob Marley was dead to begin with.
Oh, another ghost. Okay, great. I'm glad we're on a path here.
Yeah, this movie came out in 1999. No, it didn't. Sorry. Let me start.
Garrison, when did this movie come out? I'm dying to know.
So this movie came out in 1992. So this was kind of the first time the Muppets in film retold a story that already existed. You know, before they would all do their own original films, but this time they're taking on roles of characters from this classic story. They would later go on to do this again in Treasure Island, and they did like their own Wizard of Oz, and the tradition goes on and on. But this is kind of their first step into that kind of storytelling.
I know the Muppets have been around for so long, but you said 1992, and for some reason, I'm just appalled that this movie is older than I am. I don't know why. Like, I know movies are older than I am. I'm not dumb. But for some reason, that just hits me weird that the Muppet Christmas Carol is older than I am.
But that also means this movie's been around for as long as you have, and you haven't watched it.
And what does that say about me?
You're not a real Muppets fan.
Okay, that's hate speech. All right, we're taking that down.
I'm gatekeeping the Muppets.
It is me, Garrison. I'm the number one Muppet fan. Yeah. And this is what my voice sounds like all the time.
I'm definitely the number one Muppet fan, even though I haven't seen most of the original show, or Muppets Take Manhattan, or Muppets from Space. But even though I've missed those ones...
I've seen Muppets from Space, so I win. Ha 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 ha. Don't question it.
I've watched all of Muppets Now. I don't know if that makes me a better Muppets fan or a worse one.
I gotta go.
Did you watch the ABC sitcom?
No, I think it's on Disney Plus now. I think they added it, but
Wild.
I had never seen it. I was like at a weird age when it came out, where it's like I wasn't against it, but also I don't know, like it just didn't hit with me when I was at that age. But I've heard some very interesting reviews about it.
It is something else entirely. But this movie that we're reviewing, I would say, is pretty classic Muppets. Their classic style, humor. But since we all kind of know the story of A Christmas Carol already, given the poster I've placed in front of you, I just want you to guess whomst is playing whomst.
Well, I know, I almost just called him Kermit. Gross. Kermit. Kermit! Oh, no. I know Kermit is the main guy. Bob Cratchit.
Yep.
And the little frog that's Tiny Tim, does he have a name?
He does.
I don't know what his name is.
Frog Tiny Tim.
Oh, okay, great. That sums it up. I know he's Tiny Tim. And then I'm assuming Piggy is Bob Cratchit's wife. I don't know if...
Piggy's actually Scrooge. No, that's not true.
You had me in the first half, I'm not going to lie. I know Scrooge is... I don't know if he's the only real guy in it, but he's like a real person, not
a human man.
Oh, okay.
Human man.
You're Muppetist, I see. Other than that, I mean, looking at this, I couldn't really... Why are there two Rizzos?
Why are there two Rizzos? Wait.
Does Rizzo have like... Okay, hold on. Rizzo's the one in the middle here holding the candle. The one on the far right, he has different eyes. And I know Rizzo has a bunch of cousins or brothers or whatever. So I don't know if that's like one of his family members. Yeah. But he definitely has different eyes. So it's not two Rizzos. But there are two rats. Is this a spinoff of Ratatouille?
Rat to two, because there's two of them.
Oh. Okay. I'm gonna... Yeah, I couldn't tell you looking at this who is who. I mean, I feel like Fozzie is probably Jacob Marley, maybe. That seems like a comedic choice that they would do. No, but that's also not true, because the two old guys are like a version of Jacob Marley, aren't they? Right? Am I crazy? I feel like I know that. I feel like I've seen that somewhere. Okay, this is going great. This is going really, really good. This one-sided conversation I'm having with myself.
I think the only thing we could do now is sit down and watch it, and then come back and see how many of the three that you guessed right. Let's see.
The other rat isn't even credited on here. At the bottom, it's all of their names. Kermit the Frog, Miss Piggy, Great Gonzo, Rizzle the Rat.
And Second Rat.
They're literally everyone... No, little other baby frog. Bean Buddy's not on here. That's weird. That's a little rude. Bean Buddy deserves everything. His name should be the first credited.
Have you seen a bunny?
Yeah, he's on this poster. Yeah, he's right here.
Oh.
I'll show you. You see him? He's right here.
Oh my god,
he's on the
there
poster.
it is.
Yeah, okay. Great.
I need to get two posters so I can like look at both of them instead of handing you the only poster.
Honestly, if you ever have me on this podcast again, which after this, I guess we'll find out, you should like print out full-size poster on the wall and have like a big reveal.
Josh.
I mean, it would just be for both of us. It wouldn't be for the...
That's what I do.
Oh, no.
Really? I'm not sending pictures on phones and saying they're posters. I have full-size posters of all these movies.
So what's in my hand, Garrison?
You're full-size poster.
Let me just unroll it.
Yeah.
There it is. Yep, that's a full-size poster.
Yeah.
Ooh, paper cut. Ah, oof. Ouch.
And that's a big cut because that's a big poster.
Well, is that how that works?
Yep. Everyone, we'll be right back. We're going to watch a movie and get Josh some stitches. And we're back. We just finished watching Muppet's Christmas Carol. Kermit.
I was going to try to do a Kermit voice, but I can't even get it out. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, Miss Piggy, what are you doing in the studio?
Miss Piggy, what are you doing in the studio?
See, this is really awkward because I don't know if you guys know, but canonically right now, Miss Piggy and Kermit are not together.
Well, I also, just for the listeners at home, I know you can't see the studio setup, but I want to make sure, I really want to drive home, Miss Piggy and Kermit are not here. I know it sounds like they are, but they're not. And I feel like there's some legal hoops there.
Yeah.
So I just want to make sure they are not here. It was just us, surprisingly, the whole time. We're just that good.
But no, Miss Piggy and Kermit are broken up. They broke up for the ABC sitcom that came out a few years ago, and I don't think they've ever canonically had them come back together. I think they were still broken up even by Muppets now, so I don't know if that... I don't know what's going to go on with that.
I feel like that's kind of like the whole when Mickey and Minnie were clearly dating, but it was never established that they were like dating or married or anything. But now in the cartoons, he's calling her his girlfriend.
Yeah.
But before, it was kind of like everyone knew that they loved each other, but it was never like fully established.
Well, I think Walt established that they're actors, so in their private life they're married, but on screen they're dating.
And what did he say about the Muppets?
He said, "Wow, this is amazing. I love this. I don't have a bit. Oh my god, I'm spiraling."
I think I remember that quote, actually. They put it on the construction walls at studios.
I really like it. I don't have a bit. I'm spiraling.
Yes, it says, it's kind of fun to do the impossible. Everyone needs deadlines. And then, oh wow, this is amazing. I don't have a bit. I'm spiraling.
Yeah.
Walt Disney. Yeah, that's my favorite Disney quote.
So, this movie takes place on Christmas Eve in the 19th century. And we open with all the Muppets in the universe singing about how there's this guy named Ebenezer Scrooge, and everyone hates him.
And we know it's the 19th century because everyone has a top hat on.
Yeah.
And so I just, again, legally, I think in order for it to be the 19th century, you have to have a top hat.
You've got to have a top hat.
I feel like that was just a sign of the times, you know?
We have Charles Dickens, played by Gonzo the Great, and his sidekick, Rizzo the Rat, played by...
Rizzo the Rat.
Oh, that's why he looked so familiar.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was uncanny, the resemblance. He did a really, really good job.
And Charles Dickens is narrating the story about Ebenezer Scrooge, and the dialogue is seemingly... feels like it's pulled directly from the original book. I know there's at least a few quotes that are. So it's Gonzo speaking in very non-Gonzo-y ways of speaking.
Well, it's been a while since I've actually opened A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens, but I'm pretty sure in that first chapter there is the lyrics for the song that the Muppets were singing, where they said, "Mr. Scrooge, no good, poo-poo, stinky man."
No cheeses for us Mises.
No cheeses for the Mises. You know, no matter what happened in that entire movie, I was very emotionally invested in the well-being of the Mises. Those mice, I needed them to survive. I needed them to be happy, because that's what Christmas is all about. You know, rodents,
you're right.
Little rodents in the walls.
So Ebenezer Scrooge, he hates Christmas. He only likes to make money,
and it's because his heart was 3 sizes
too small.
Correct. His head wasn't screwed on just right.
That's right.
His shoes were too tight, and he was green, and he was Matthew Morrison.
So Matthew Morrison gets home.
You mean Scrooge?
What?
Scrooge?
Yeah, Matthew Morrison.
No, Ebenezer. Scrooge. Say it with me. Ebenezer Scrooge.
Schuster. From Glee, played by Matthew Morrison. Yep. I want to just carry on the rest of the review just saying it is Matthew Morrison.
Ew.
As script. No, I'm just kidding.
Could you imagine A Christmas Carol starring Matthew Morrison? But Matthew Morrison plays every single role. He is everyone.
Everyone's just pelvic thrusting.
It's just like a weird, Christmas orgy starring Matthew Morrison with some really horrible singing. Bad times.
So he's a money collector for houses. Like that's his job.
The mortgage man.
He's the mortgage man. And he has Bob Cratchit, played by Kermit the Frog, working for him, and a whole bunch of mice bookkeepers, rat bookkeepers, not mice.
Not mice. They're the rats, not the mice.
We get a few examples of how cruel of a boss Ebenezer Scrooge is. He barely lets them use coal for the fireplace. He has them work pretty much every day, very little pay.
He slams the door in Bean Bunny's face, which I don't think he was his employer, but like that's a very vital detail because Bean Bunny deserves better than that.
Yeah, he's there's like charity workers coming by, and he's like, "Bah humbug, go away."
He did say "bah humbug." That was a good time.
That was good.
That's in the book. That's in the story.
And he's like, "I'm not going to give money to charity. I already pay taxes for workhouses and prisons, so if people are really that cold, they can go there."
Imagine being like, "Oh, you're homeless and you're cold because it's snowing outside. Let's go to jail. Have fun."
So yeah, I think they well established he's not a good dude. His nephew stops by and is like, "Hey, Merry Christmas, just as a formality. I know you're going to say no, but you're allowed to come by for our Christmas dinner." And Scrooge is like, "I know this is just a formality, but I'm not going to do that."
Is that your Matthew Morrison Grinch impression?
No, yes.
Oh, okay.
No, that was my...
That was your Michael Caine?
That was my Michael Caine.
Oh, your Michael Caine and your Matthew Morrison Grinch sound very similar. So maybe they are the same person.
"Master Fred, I will not go to your house." I can't do his voice.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Grinch is here.
No.
Give it up for the Grinch, everyone.
Bob Cratchit does manage to get at least Christmas Day off, and Scrooge, frustrated with his day and all the goings-on, decides to head back to his home. And while there, his doorknob changes to be the face of his old business partner, Jacob Marley, and this startles him.
And he scrims.
He scrims.
The door knocker, Bob Marley, not Scrooge. Well, I guess Scrooge screams. They both scream.
Yeah.
They scream at each other.
Oh, right before this, Kermit sings a song about how there's one more day till Christmas, and it's very
true.
nice.
He says, "As long as there's Christmas." Oh, wait, that's the Beauty and the Beast song. Oops. These all exist in the same universe. They're interchangeable.
So Scrooge back at his house, his door knocker changing into Jacob Marley. He goes up the stairs, and then he is presented with
a musical number.
Musical number by
me.
Jacob and Robert Marley. Robert Marley being a character added to this production because the Marleys are played by
Statler and Waldorf. Marley and Marley.
Ooh. We're Marley and Marley.
Beautiful. That's what I listen to every night when I go to sleep. I really want that to just, inspire my life.
So they tell Scrooge that essentially, because of all his wrongdoings and how horrible he is, he's going to have chains and weights and all these things, shackles bearing him down for the rest of eternity if he doesn't turn his life around.
Casual.
And Scrooge is like, "But I don't like that. And that sounds...
Ooh. That's
we don't like it either."
Yeah, they literally were like, "Yeah." He was like, "I don't want that," and they both went, "Yeah."
That's the whole plot of this movie.
What are you doing?
So now afraid, he's like, "Is there anything I can do to change this?" And the Marleys let him know that he'll be visited by 3 spirits in the night, and he has that night to kind of turn his life around.
Turn his life around.
The spirits leave, and Scrooge is like, "Well, what a weird thing that happened just now."
And then he just goes to sleep.
He's like,
"That's the thing.
Time for bed."
Imagine someone being like, "Hey, first off, I'm a ghost. You're gonna die, and you're gonna be like chained up for all of eternity. But you are now gonna be visited by 3 more ghosts throughout the night." And then you just go to sleep.
You're like,
No, I would be like, all my lights would be on. I would be watching some stupid TV show.
but he did just come home from work.
Oh, in that case, that's fine. Yeah, okay, great. So I'd be like, "Ooh, scary. Night-night."
Good night. You know that thing where it's like when you have something to do, like get visited by 3 ghosts, you're like, "Oh, I could stay up for it, or I could like take a nap."
Yeah, I'll just like set an alarm. I'll take
set
a
an
quick
alarm.
little snooze. Little
It's
nappy
like,
nap.
when will the first ghost arrive? 1 a.m.? I have until 1 a.m. to sleep.
Sets alarm for 12:58.
When he is awoken by a light, and it's the ghost of Christmas past.
Which was haunting.
Yeah.
Little sausage girl. It looked like someone took a hot dog, wrapped it in like a big like tissue paper. Like a tissue paper with a hot dog head sticking out of it, and it glowed, and she was transparent, and she was eerie.
Yes.
I mean, she's a ghost, so I guess that makes sense.
Well, in the book, I believe the Ghost of Christmas Past is described as looking old and young at the same time. And
Like Cher.
Like Cher. She can't say that. We're going to be haunted by 3 Chers in the middle of the night. The 3 from the Cher musical.
I'm the ghost from Christmas Past. If I could turn back time.
Which I can. I'm the ghost of Christmas Past.
Honestly,
I'm a ghost of Christmas Past.
I would love that. I'd be like, all right, let's go. 3 hours of Cher? Let's do it.
They take Ebenezer back to his childhood days, where Scrooge kind of started cementing who he'll be in his life. He had a pretty strict headmaster played by Sam Eagle, and basically Scrooge was told, like, hey, if you want to make it in the world, you have to be good at business. At business. It is the American way. Oh, right. It is the British way.
Do you get it? Because Sam Eagle, he's like America. Like his whole shtick is America, but it's taking place in Britain. So he said, "Ha, America," and then they said, "No, this is Britain." That was the joke.
I'm just understanding it now. Thank you.
Of course, absolutely. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to explain comedy to you, the one who needs it the most.
I do. So that's kind of the foundations of why he is the way he is. We see him at his first job with Mr. Fezziwig, which there was a character named Mr. Fezziwig, and they were like, who could we play Fezziwig? Fozzie Bear. Fozzie.
Fozziwig. Waka waka.
Who owns a rubber chicken factory, which, for the most part, all of Ebenezer Scrooge's lines are very Victorian and kind of straight out of the novel. So he doesn't really say anything too ridiculous or even make that many jokes. But hearing Michael Caine say, what, this is his old rubber chicken factory.
It's very off-putting. And that's when Gonzo lights Rizzo on fire, and he's like, the lamp, not the rat, the lamp, not the rat, the lamp, not the rat, which for some reason really tickled me. I thought that was funny. Am I a 4-year-old? Quite possibly.
And this is the party where Scrooge falls in love. He meets a young woman named Belle, and they're supposed to be married. But we see later that Scrooge was so focused on his work that he kind of neglected her, and he promised every year that he would marry her, and then he just never did because he's like, I'm not successful enough. What do you mean? I can't settle down now. I'm not rich enough.
He said, I don't have enough money. You are pretty and I like you, but I don't have money.
So Belle leaves him, and Scrooge in the present day watching this, like, that's when you kind of start to see the cracks in his beliefs, when you really start to see he might be
a Grinch.
No, that, like, there is something there worth saving. So then the clock strikes 2. Scrooge meets his next ghost, the Ghost of Christmas Present, and they have an amazing song.
Just human sweetums is who he is. He's this big giant man that kind of looks like Merida's dad in Brave.
Yeah, he kind of, the vibe I get from the Ghost of Christmas Present is that he's almost like a Santa Claus, but like young Santa. Like he's big, but he's got a red beard.
Like, what is it? A Year Without Santa Claus? The one with young Kris Kringle?
No, that is Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
Ah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
But the Ghost of Christmas Present is this big, larger-than-life character, again, like the book. And for each ghost, they use an original Muppet. And so this guy is... It's every visual depiction of the Ghost of Christmas Present just brought to life as a giant Muppet.
And he has cheekbones, let me tell you.
He is
kind of like Cher. That's my goal now, is to see how many times I can just slip Cher into the rest of this podcast. Great.
This is where we see the Cratchits again. Bob Cratchit with his family, Miss Piggy.
Is this the one where he's scatting as they're walking home?
Kermit and Robin. Robin's the little frog.
Kermit is scatting on his way home with Tiny Tim.
Yeah, they're having a nice little sing-song.
Okay, again, just because he's small, you don't have to keep using words like that, okay?
He's Tiny Tim.
His family already calls him Tiny Tim, which is just seems like bullying to me personally. You know, like if I have a kid, I wouldn't be like, oh, I'm not going to say, oh, here comes red hair Garrison. You're just Garrison. I'm not going to say, like, why is that?
Here comes reverse baseball cap Josh.
Of all the things you could have gone for, I'm glad you went for that one. Thanks.
Yeah. We learned Tiny Tim is very sick, but he has a really good heart. We see Scrooge being like, hey, is Tiny Tim going to be okay? He seems like he's not doing so well. The Ghost of Christmas Present's like, well...
He's like, nah.
No.
He's like, no.
No. He's like, if things don't change, I do see an empty spot at the table where Tiny Tim sits. And Scrooge is like, I wonder what that means.
He said, what? Someone's gonna die?
Oh, no. I wonder who it'll be.
Maybe it'll be one of the two shining twin Miss Piggy little girls. Who never had names. It was...
No, they did.
Did they?
They did a whole bit about it, but you were making jokes with Jaden.
Oh, that checks out. Because it was Peter.
Yep.
And it was Tiny Tim. And then he just kept calling them the Gorals. He never said their actual names, did he?
They said their names.
Oh.
They did a whole bit about it where Miss Piggy couldn't tell which one was which.
Oh. Was that when she was eating the chestnuts?
Yeah.
And she was like, bah, 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 bah. And she was like, I was just checking them.
Which brings us to The Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come.
Which is literal nightmare fuel.
He's so big.
I'm glad that I didn't watch this as a kid because the ghosts of past and yet to come, literally, I would have had nightmares about them. I would have been in my little bed, listening to my Christmas music with my Christmas lights on, and I just would have been like, Christmas isn't fun anymore because they're going to kill me.
So the style of Muppet that they use, it seems similar to the one that's used for Big Bird to me. Like, it looks like the exact same style of Muppet. Very long neck.
He is very large.
He's big. He's like wide, but he's tall.
We keep saying he. Let's just say they.
They.
Because we don't know.
We don't know what the Ghost of Christmas Present is.
What if they take the hood off and there's a little bow? Like,
yeah, it's a girl.
It's a girl. I think that's the rule.
But wouldn't the ghost wear the bow on the outside if it was a girl?
Maybe they don't want to get snowed on.
Oh, you're right.
It could get ruined.
So the Ghost of Christmas Present, they're showing Scrooge around this future where someone has passed away. Who could it be?
Gee, I wonder who it is.
Well, Scrooge can't tell who it is. It's this very unlikable rich guy who's just passed on.
Yeah.
No one's coming to his funeral. Everyone hates him. His stuff is being just sold off at auction houses.
To this weird spider Muppet that I've never seen before, and I really did not like. He was icky.
And Scrooge the whole time was like, who is this man that no one likes?
Like,
who is it?
Literally imagine being so mean to everyone and just knowing everyone doesn't like you. And then all of a sudden, you're on this trip of a lifetime with this super scary ghost. And all of a sudden, everyone's like, no one liked him anyway. And you're like, who? What?
Who could it be?
You already knew no one liked you. Come on.
The ghost also shows them that Tiny Tim has in fact died. And
that was a plot twist right there. Scrooge was like, what? Oh, no one told me.
He's like, I'm learning so much.
He's like, this all just happened.
This scene actually, I think, is played out really well. I mean, granted, I've seen this movie many times by now, but the first few times I saw this, the way that to see Kermit's family react to a death in the family,
they are really sad. When Miss Piggy was like, the girls were like, "Are you crying again?" And she was like, "No." It was really sad.
Yeah.
Little puppet people almost made me cry.
Yeah.
I didn't though, because I had hot chocolate, so it was I was okay. But
I bumped the mic. Can you say that one more time?
oh, Garrison, stop bumping my mic, man. Hey, listen, I will throw you off this
No,
balcony.
but can you say that one more time?
What? Say what?
The Coco thing.
The Coco?
No.
Well, I wasn't sad because
But say it like it's your first time.
I don't remember what I said. You think I remember what I said?
It was it's like
My memory is 0%. Head empty, no thought. Only Coco.
fine.
I literally don't remember what I said.
It's okay. But basically, Tiny Tim was gone, and Scrooge is like, "Wait, this is awful."
Which I just love how long it takes him to process that the Ghost of Christmas Present was like, "Oh, Tiny Tim might die." I think he almost like explicitly says that Tiny Tim doesn't survive, and then the Ghost of Christmas Yet to Come is like brings him, and he's like, "The family's sad. Tiny Tim's not there," and he's like, "Let me ponder this."
Wait,
he's like, "What could have happened? Let me use my context clues." Like in the previous 20 minutes, I learned that the little one might not be here, and now the little one's not here. What could have happened?
It's anyone's guess, really.
It's anyone's guess.
No, but he's like, "Spirit, is there a way to change these things? Who was that man? Is Tim gonna be dead forever? What's gonna happen?" And the Ghost Christmas Yet to Come points at a gravestone, and when he wipes it off, surprise.
But before he wipes it off, there's like this weird kind of sprinkle. It's not comedy per se, but he like the ghost is pointing at one of the tombstones, and Scrooge like points at a different one. He's like, "This one?" And it's like, hello? Like, it was like such an oddly timed stab at a joke. And I mean, it's the Muppets, so like,
I'm not
obviously
even sure
it's going to
if it
happen.
was a joke. I think it was like a...
It was just weird.
I
It's
think-
like, for such a gravitas moment, for him to be like,
So it is his own name, and he's like, "Is there a way to change these things? Do I have to be the thing that people said? I'll keep Christmas in my heart forever, please. I don't want to be sad." And then he wakes up in his bed, and he's like, "Oh my god."
which I'm still a little mad about because it has been a while since I've read the actual story. So I could, like, don't quote me. It might not be in the actual story, but in every other every other Christmas Carol rendition that I've seen, he's always cast into his grave. Which I don't know why that's like my favorite part, but I think it's just such like extraness where they're like, you know, he's already learned his lesson by that point. He sees that it's his grave.
And they're just trying to spook him.
Yeah, they're like, he sees it's his grave. He's like, "Oh, I'll change. And they're like, "Heh," and they just kick him into his open grave. And they didn't. He just fell onto his bed, and he was like, "My sheets, my bed." He said his bedposts. "These are my bedposts." Which I'm glad that was the identifier for his room, was the bedpost.
He flings the window open in true Ebenezer Scrooge form and sees the first boy outside the window, which was Bean Bunny.
Bean Bunny.
And he goes, "You there, boy! What day is this?" He's like, "Oh, it's Christmas, sir. Christmas Day."
And then Scrooge is like, "It came without packages, boxes,
It came
or
without
bags."
ribbons. It came without tags.
He said-
it came without packages, boxes, or bags.
He said, "Perhaps Christmas.
Doesn't come from a store.
Perhaps." I don't remember.
Maybe Christmas perhaps means something
a little bit more.
a little bit more.
And that's when he takes off his little sleeping cap, and you realize that it was, in fact,
Matthew Morrison
as the Grinch the entire time. But then he takes a cloth and he wipes off the makeup, and it was actually Cher the whole time.
Oh my god.
And it's a Christmas Cheryl.
I imagine wiping off makeup and it's Cher instead of the other way around.
And she would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you meddling Muppets.
If it weren't for you meddling
Muppets. Okay.
Ebenezer Scrooge is like, "Let's buy a big turkey. I'm having fun."
No, wait, you forgot. the best quote in the entire movie is he tells Bean Buddy that he'll give him a shilling to go get the turkey, and he says, "Oh no, I'll give you 5 shillings," and he throws him out the window, and Bean Buddy goes, "Okay!" And that's the quote of the century.
He just runs off with money.
Doesn't buy the turkey, he just takes off. He starts his new life.
Yeah.
And that's where he ties into the show at Hollywood Studios, is he has ran away from a Christmas Carol universe, and he is now living at Disney's Hollywood Studios, and he's going to run away again when he gets fired from that show.
Yes.
I don't know why you're laughing. This is well-known Muppet lore. If you're not that much into the MCU, the Muppet Cinematic Universe, then I'm not sure why we're even doing this. If you weren't here for the hard-hitting facts, it's just you're a fake fan.
Michael Caine does his best singing a song with a thankful
he does try his
heart
best, yeah.
and this joy. Every girl and boy will be nice for you and nice to me.
At least you can understand what he's saying.
Yeah.
Recently I have heard some singing what you can't understand what they're saying. I don't know what we ever watched Matthew Morrison's Grinch. That would make me think that.
Yeah. Where every line is borderline.
He's just gargling.
Yeah. And then he shows up to the Cratchit's house, and he plays a little game where he's like, "I'm still evil, Scrooge," and he's like, "Just kidding, I'm really cool now."
Miss Piggy's about ready to like kick him, like she's about ready to go to town on him.
Yeah.
And then he's like, "A raise," and she's like, "Ha." That was my Miss Piggy impression.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
Amazing.
I've been told it's pretty good. Thank you.
It's the best one I've ever heard in my life.
Thank you very much. I'll have to put that on my resume for all my entertainment jobs that I'm applying for.
Nice. And yeah, he gives Bob Cratchit a raise. He promises to hold Christmas in his heart forever. And the story ends with Gonzo being like, "Yeah, he did. He was generous for the rest of his life." Which he was a 60-year-old man in the 19th century, so it was probably 3 more years.
Yeah, he had about 3 years.
Also, wait, I want to point out that he apparently died not too long after Tiny Tim does in the Fast Forward to the Future. Like, those are happening simultaneous. So even though he improves Tiny Tim's health by giving him, like, money and a good place to live.
Yeah, did he improve his own health?
Does he improve his own health? I mean, being angry does cause stress, which can lead to like health complications. So maybe
and wrinkles.
So he extended maybe 2 more years.
Interesting.
Good for him.
Well, a thing that I like to point out is, he goes to Bob Cratchit and he's like, "Oh, here's a raise, here's a turkey, a bunch of strangers, we're gonna have a party," and he's like, "I hold the spirit of Christmas in my heart forever." Imagine your boss, who's just like really cranky to you, all of a sudden shows up at your house and is like, "The spirit of Christmas is in my heart forever." I'd be like, "What?" Like, what are you talking about, dude?
Okay.
Yeah, I'd be like, I mean, thanks for the food and these random people, but literally, what are you talking about? I'm glad you're happy, but geez.
I mean, to be fair, right now we're working at a Christmas place.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So that would be...
I literally don't know what you're talking about.
I think that would be pretty normal if they're like, I am all about Christmas right now.
What is Christmas?
Oh my god, we're gonna have to watch so many more movies to explain this.
We will only be watching one, and it will be The Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause, starring Tim Allen and Martin Short. Stay tuned, everyone.
That's all you need to know about Christmas.
And we're back. We just watched The Santa Claus 3, starring Tim Allen and Martin Short, and I think it was the best movie I've ever seen, hands down.
I miss Bernard, really.
Yeah, where was Justice for Bernard?
Yeah.
Okay, but real talk.
Too busy with all those numbers.
We're going to take a sidetrack. Did Bernard die? What happened to Bernard? In the Santa Claus lore, where is Bernard? He's like the head honcho in 1 and 2, and then he just goes poof.
He has to go solve crime with numbers.
Oh, but like, do elves die? Is this supposed to be like an allure at the mortality of elves?
See, just like you have to kill Santa to become the next Santa, Curtis had to kill Bernard to become the next head elf.
Got it. That makes sense.
Yeah.
It was a sleigh accident. No one would know. It happens a lot.
So that was a Muppet Christmas Carol, and...
Bernard wasn't in that one either,
No.
in case you were wondering. Neither was Sweetums, but the Swedish Chef was for like 2 seconds, so I'm content.
A little bit of trivia, a little bit of fun facts. This film was directed by Brian Henson because it wasn't too long after his father Jim Henson had passed away. Brian Henson would go on to work on a lot of Muppet projects in the future. This was actually the first, along with that, the first time that Kermit was not voiced by Jim Henson. So I think that was a pretty good job. Mm-hmm. There's actually a reference to this at the Disney parks. This specific movie. I know there's a lot of Muppet references because there's Great Moments in History and Magic Kingdom. There was. There also was. There's still Muppet Vision 3D and that whole area.
Don't forget the literal Muppet ride. That's a hard hitter.
Muppet Mobile Labs over in Epcot that used to exist. So the Muppets have existed in the parks for a while. But there's a specific Muppet Christmas Carol reference, and it's only there during Christmas time. It isn't there this year. Do you know it?
No, I'm intrigued. Is it in a certain park?
Yes.
Is it in Studios?
No.
Is it in Magic?
Yes. It's only during the Christmas party, and it's the best part of something that I don't personally care for.
Okay. Let me run through the list of things Garrison doesn't like super fast. I got nothing.
At Magic Kingdom for the Christmas party, Mickey's most merriest celebration, the Stage Castle show, MC3. They do the Ghost Christmas Present song. That's one of the numbers.
Okay, if I'm gonna be completely honest, and at this point, why not? Who's gonna stop me? I've never sat and watched the entire full show. Because I've only been to the Christmas party, I think, twice since that show has existed. And both times, the first time they were singing the Text Me, It's Christmas song or whatever, which I found so appalling. And then the other time I saw it, it was the finale, and it was just so overstimulating, the amount of people and the amount of stuff that was happening on the stage, that I was like, I don't think I like this, and we did not watch it. So I am not an expert on that show. Besides the fact that I know they do, in fact, text, which
text you Merry Christmas.
Don't like that.
I'm going to text you Merry Christmas right now.
Oh.
No, but yeah, it feels like Christmas is in there, which I think is really cool. And the rest of that show isn't that great.
Super duper.
Yeah.
Imagine if they brought, like, a giant Ghost of Christmas Present. That would be fun.
So now's the part of the show where we get to construct an attraction for this. It could be a show, it could be a ride. But if the Muppet Christmas Carol specifically had to have its own place in the parks, where would it be? What would it be? Would we keep it only for a Christmas celebration? Would it be a seasonal overlay of another pre-existing thing? What would we want?
I'm thinking a seasonal overlay that goes on top of Big Thunder Mountain. And you're literally, like, zipping through the story of the Muppets.
Of a Christmas Carol in Frontierland? Victorian London?
Do you not think that they can celebrate Christmas in Frontierland? That's a little timist. No, I have a couple ideas. I think that it would be... Do you remember before Disney Junior was in the stage over by Launch Bay at Studios? It was the Playhouse Disney show.
Yeah.
With Bear in the Big Blue House. And the stage was like it had big sections and it would rotate.
Yeah, and it was built for puppets.
Yes, exactly. And there were different sections of the stage. So it would do the Bear in the Big Blue House, and then it would rotate, and that would be the next. I think Roly Poly Oly was in there. If it was like that.
There was a million incarnations where there was like Sophia the First.
Yeah,
there
exactly.
Was Handy Manny at one point.
Yeah, I think if you did a show like that, even if it was like a seasonal thing, where the stage is like rotate. One section is his office, one section is the Ghost of Christmas Past set, one stage is the Ghost of Christmas Present, and then you could have that live performer mixed with Muppet performances.
That's actually a really cool idea.
I think it would be super nifty, and they could sing, and then even to take that a step further, even if you had, I'm not sure if we have a place for it, but you know what, this is just off the cuff. So we're going to build a place that was a show, but it was more of a larger production, kind of like how Aladdin was in Disneyland and Frozen is. And you could even have like performers in the aisleways at some points when they're singing like the Scrooge song. He could walk from the back of the theater all the way up to the stage, and they could be like singing at him as he walks through the kind of like more of an interactive experience. I think would be fun.
I think that's really cool. I think another option that's not as good, but what I thought of was a overlay of great moments in history where they do a little bit of a Christmas Carol, and instead of like the town crier coming out, it is just Scrooge.
And that's not a bad idea.
But I think that having a full-on theater for this that you can rotate locations is way better.
I think it would just be nifty to see if you had a stage that had, say, 5 different sections, then you have 5 sets, and with that integration of having a live performer on the stage with the little area for the puppets would be a fun way to like play around with that, you know?
No, I agree. I don't think I could come up with anything better. I think that's perfect.
What if it was like a seasonal overlay of the Grand Fiesta Tour in Mexico, where we actually just take down everything that's in there, like all the animatronics. We just
put up a Matthew Morrison the Grinch
as you're going through, and they're like, "Have you seen a duck?" And he's like, "Yes, I've seen a duck." And they're like, "Oh,
I hate your boat."
Oh.
Half these jokes will not make sense if you haven't seen The Grinch live for NBC starring Matthew Morrison.
But also, I cannot tell you enough. Please, for the love of God, do not watch
Absolutely
The Grinch.
watch it.
Do not.
Go,
Garrison.
Turn off this podcast, because who cares about this nonsense?
Garrison, why are you asking people to literally sit through what I think is Dante's third circle of hell? And that was The Grinch Who Stole Christmas, the musical.
Because I had to.
Yeah, but we did it willingly, which, in retrospect, was a really bad idea.
It was the best idea.
No.
Watch it, it's so funny.
If I had to do the Grinch pelvic thrust one more time, that was going to be the end.
Oh, man. We have to choose. Is this movie a hidden treasure, or should it be locked away?
I don't even think that's, like, a question.
Lock it away.
No. Hey, get out of here. No, that was a hidden treasure.
That was amazing.
It was great.
I personally, A Christmas Carol is my favorite Christmas story in general. Like, I just think it's such a classic and a feel-good story about redemption. And I think Victorian London is so Christmassy to me. Probably because of this story.
Correct. But that is why. It's because the market is oversaturated with old things.
With this.
You see a top hat and a coat with a scarf, and you go,
Scrooge.
A Christmas Carol. Yeah. I mean, I think what I liked the most about it was very true to the story itself.
Yeah.
But also very Muppety.
Right.
But not too much of either one. It's like there were some funny parts. There was some Muppet comedy. But it wasn't overwhelming that it overpowered the actual story itself.
Because watching through it, I struggle to call it a comedy.
It's definitely not.
I
laughed at a couple parts.
This is the only Muppet movie that I don't think qualifies as a comedy. There's comedic moments.
Well, no, because Muppets from Space is a documentary.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, duh.
But Gonzo and Rizzo kind of do funny bits.
But it's not overpowering.
It's not that much, and
No.
they're kind of in between things. Scrooge basically never cracks a joke. Kermit never does anything. Miss Piggy, a little bit.
The jokes are hidden in there, but again, it's one of those things that it's like a joke that they just kind of toss away. So they just say it in passing, and if you hear it, you laugh. But it's not a plot of the story.
Or if they do a joke, like if the Ghost Christmas Present does a joke, or Scrooge, because they do them. But they're jokes from the original book.
Mm-hmm. It makes sense. It was very well integrated with, because when you really think about, without seeing it, thinking about A Christmas Carol with the Muppets, you literally just think it's going to be a Christmas Carol, but it's going to be silly and
zany, and Scrooge is going to be like,
they're going to be doing stupid stuff and saying stupid things and just being silly.
They were very respectful of the story.
It was really, really good. I really enjoyed it.
And yeah, it was just more of like a feel-good, heartfelt movie than zany slapstick.
It would have been better if there was a little tiny bit more Swedish Chef, because we only saw him with the talking grapes. But you know, I'll take what I can get. It's a downhill slope.
And for everyone listening who doesn't already know this, in any anything you watch Swedish Chef in, look closely. He has human hands. It's not Muppet hands. He has human hands.
I will take this a step further. He is actually married as well, because from what I understand, they were filming something. I don't know if it was a movie or something, but the puppeteer who was doing the hands forgot to take his wedding ring off. So the Swedish Chef had a wedding ring on, and instead of completely refilming the entire thing, they just said, "Oh yeah, the Swedish Chef is married. Didn't you know?" Like, we should have known that.
I mean, I haven't looked it up, but I wonder if it was a mistake, or I know back in that era of film and TV, actors who were married wouldn't take their ring off, like even to film things.
Yeah, I mean,
there were stories of like, for example, the show Hogan's Heroes, where there was a character who was married. The character wasn't married, but the actor was. He refused to take his wedding ring off. So his character wore gloves for basically the entire show.
Me too. I mean, I wouldn't not believe it was an accident, because that seems like oh crap, I forgot to take my ring off.
Yeah.
Let's just roll with it. But if you do go to Hollywood Studios during Christmas, when they do the projections on Tower of Terror, they have a little Swedish Chef making a gingerbread house moment, which I could talk for days about because it is a treasure to me. And he sure does have a wedding ring on, and that's when I first noticed it, and I said, I don't think that's right.
On his human hands.
Yes, and then I Googled it, and I said, aha, behorken sheborken de bigget flugen.
Well, Josh, thank you so much for joining me today. Guys, if you like the show, you can write a review for us on the Apple Podcast app. You can visit us at Instagram on @IntoTheVaultPodcast. Josh, where can people find you?
Probably usually at home.
Yeah.
I like to stay.
Usually here.
Yeah.
At my home. You've been here so much.
You told me to move in.
Yeah.
Is this just like not working out for us?
Well, you haven't paid any rent.
Did you want me to? I thought my comedy was gold enough. No, you guys can find the podcast that me and a friend actually host at Mouse and Globe, and that's on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, and there's a website, and there's an actual podcast you can listen to.
Along with all the other stuff?
Yes, well, we also have a town crier that comes through and just reads the entire podcast. We have a book form that you can pre-order on your Amazon Kindle right now, and pretty soon we're going to be doing messenger pigeons, which is very, very exciting.
It just drops off a note, and you read it. It's the entire podcast.
Yeah, how do you circulate yours? Is there a better way?
I need to figure out a better way. This is
Try paper airplanes. That's what we started with.
I love my audience, but we've kind of been the same audience for quite a while now.
So tell your friends.
Yeah,
tell
a friend.
Wait. Kermit says
And Miss Piggy says to tell a friend too.
Yeah, that's right, Miss Piggy. We have a really, really good thanks for listening, everyone. That is just a really bad Kermit, but you cannot convince me it's bad. I will forever be going on like, yeah, that's spot on, and everyone's like, what
the one you just said was bad?
Yeah.